Welcome back to Global Eye, the channel that brings you the truth behind world events, the stories others are too afraid to cover, and the hidden realities of our fast-changing world. If you haven't subscribed yet, make sure you hit that button and turn on notifications so you never miss an update. Now, let's dive straight into one of the most shocking developments from the war front that has left the entire world stunned. For months, the Russian invasion of Ukraine has dragged on in brutal fashion. Towns have been reduced to rubble, lives shattered, and millions displaced. Yet through all of this, one image has defined the conflict: Russia's relentless push forward, trying to impose its will. But now, in a dramatic twist, the narrative has changed. Vladimir Putin himself has ordered a massive retreat, and in the chaos, nearly 11,000 Russian soldiers are left stranded in what can only be described as a living hell. This is not just a story of military strategy. This is about men trapped between loyalty and survival, soldiers abandoned in the unforgiving grip of war, and a president forced to make a decision that could alter the entire trajectory of the conflict. Reports from the ground confirm that after facing intense Ukrainian counter-offensives, Russia's lines began to collapse. Ukrainian forces, armed with Western precision weapons and backed by detailed intelligence, cut off critical supply routes. What followed was a nightmare scenario. Thousands of Russian troops, spread across broken terrain, suddenly realized they were surrounded. Food supplies dwindled, ammunition ran low, the harsh landscape turned into a graveyard of burnt-out tanks and shattered artillery. Imagine being one of those soldiers. The radio static is filled with desperate voices calling for reinforcements, but no help arrives. The commanders issue vague orders, but even they know the truth: retreat has been ordered, and not everyone will make it out alive. As night falls, the temperatures drop, the smell of smoke and blood hangs in the air, and the cries of the wounded echo through the ruined fields. This is the reality of those 11,000 stranded men. The order from Putin came after mounting losses and growing pressure from his inner circle. Sources suggest he was presented with two options: push forward at catastrophic cost, or retreat and regroup to save what's left of his forces. He chose retreat, but in doing so, he condemned thousands to a fate that may be worse than death. The retreat itself was chaotic. Russian convoys stretched for miles, desperately trying to move through narrow escape routes under constant Ukrainian drone surveillance. Every bridge was targeted, every road shelled. Ukrainian forces tightened the noose, knowing that time was on their side. The result: columns of vehicles abandoned, soldiers scattering into the wilderness, and pockets of men cut off entirely. International analysts have described the scene as one of the greatest military embarrassments in modern history. 11,000 soldiers left behind, some injured, some starving, some simply too exhausted to carry on. They are not only stranded in enemy territory but also in what soldiers call the middle of hell, a wasteland where survival itself becomes the only mission. Eyewitness accounts paint a horrifying picture. Soldiers drinking from muddy rivers, sharing scraps of food, and digging shallow trenches just to protect themselves from incoming fire. Many have reportedly begun surrendering in groups, raising white flags, hoping the Ukrainians will show mercy. Others are determined to fight to the end, believing capture means certain humiliation. But beyond the battlefield, the political consequences are immense. Putin's carefully crafted image of strength has been shattered. For the first time, cracks are visible not just in his army but in his leadership. Citizens back in Russia are questioning the endless losses. Families are demanding answers about their sons who may never return. And in the halls of power, whispers are growing louder: was this war worth it, and how much longer can Russia sustain it? Meanwhile, Ukrainian morale has never been higher. Videos circulating online show Ukrainian soldiers celebrating, holding captured Russian equipment, and declaring that victory is within reach. To them, this retreat is proof that the tide of war has turned. They believe Putin's forces are not invincible, that they can be pushed back further, and that liberation is possible. Yet the human cost cannot be ignored. 11,000 men are not just numbers. They are fathers, sons, brothers, and husbands. Trapped in a nightmare, many of them are only beginning to understand that their government has abandoned them. Some send last messages on broken phones, others write notes hoping they'll be found if they don't make it out. This is the silent tragedy hidden beneath the headlines. Western leaders are watching closely. Washington, London, and Brussels see this as a major opportunity to tighten the pressure. More weapons are being shipped to Ukraine, more sanctions are being prepared against Moscow, and more intelligence is being shared to ensure that these stranded Russian units remain cut off. The strategy is clear: weaken Russia until it has no choice but to negotiate. For Putin, however, admitting defeat is not an option. He may spin this retreat as a tactical maneuver, a temporary repositioning, but the reality is far darker. His soldiers are stuck in the middle of hell, with no clear way out, and every passing day adds to the humiliation. And so, the question arises, what happens next? Will these soldiers attempt a desperate breakout? Will they surrender en masse? Or will they perish in the wasteland, forgotten by the very leader who sent them there? History has shown us that wars are often decided not by battles won, but by morale lost. And right now, Russian morale is crumbling. As we tell this story, remember that this is not just about military strategy or politics. It is about human lives caught in the middle of a ruthless conflict. It is about men who believed they were fighting for their country, only to discover that their lives were expendable pieces on a geopolitical chessboard. The world is watching, the families are waiting, and the soldiers, stranded, hungry, scared, are praying for a way out of the nightmare. 11,000 men, trapped in the middle of hell, waiting for a rescue that may never come. This is Global Eye, bringing you the stories that matter most, unfiltered and raw. If you found this report important, don't forget to subscribe, like, and share this video so more people can understand the truth behind the headlines. Stay tuned, because the war is far from over, and the next chapter may be even more shocking than the last.